In the headlines, PDP National Executive Committee passes vote of confidence in Iyorchia Ayu. Military arrest Boko Haram informant in Abuja. Building collapses, kills 5 in Oyo State. And tributes pouring after death of longest-serving British monarch. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I'm Zainab Bala. Hello and welcome. National Executive Committee of Nigeria's opposition party, the PDP, has passed a vote of confidence on its National Working Committee led by its embattled national chairman, Iyorchia Ayu. The NEC resolution is coming on the heels of a precarious internal crisis that erupted in the party as a fallout of its national convention that produced former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as a flag bearer for the 2023 election. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman also reports that the chairman of the party's board of trustees resigns his position.
There has been an easy calm in the PDP with the raging acrimony between its presidential flag bearer Atiku Abubakar and the Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, who came second at the party's national convention. Series of meetings have failed to resolve the nagging disagreement, which led to the stepping aside of the party's board of trustee chairman Senator Walid Jibril and the emergence of former Senate President Adolphus Wabara as the acting chairman of the BOT. With a vote of confidence on the NWC and remarks of key speakers at the NEC meeting, the party has now resolved to move on despite the wranglings.
Many speakers here have alluded to family disagreements. It's true, family disagreements are normal, even in normal families as well as political families.
What is important is how those issues are resolved. And for all the PDP, we have the mechanism and we are working towards resolving all of those issues soonest.
There is nothing on earth that has no solution. Nothing on earth, no problem on earth that has no solution. Worst case scenario, the solution to earth is a solution.
We need to focus on the issues that worry the Nigerian people. Issues of security, issues of education, issues of the economy, issues of health, issues of national infrastructure to help our country to move forward.
The last may not have been heard, however, of the bickerings, as the camp of the Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike was conspicuously absent at the NEC meeting, which is also expected to ratify key resolutions of the various arms of the party.
From the series of resolutions and of course the direction of the party, it is obvious that the party is ready to move on in spite of the crisis rocking it. From the Wadata Plaza, that is the headquarters of the People's Democratic Party, Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News.
Moving on, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike says the resignation of the chairman of PDP Board of Trustees, Walid Jibril, will not deflect him from his demand that the national chairman of the party, Iyorchia Ayu, must step down. Wike spoke on Thursday at the commissioning of the Ahioda campus of the State University of Science, explaining that his resolve was based on an agreement he had with the PDP presidential flag bearer, Atiku Abubakar, after the May PDP presidential primaries. He dared Atiku to deny that he had proposed that Ayu must go based on the zoning agreement, which stipulated that when a candidate comes from the north, the chairman will come from south. Wike therefore pointed out that his stand on Ayu's resignation was based on integrity, which would not be softened by the resignation of Walid Jibril as the Board of Trustee chair. Now, tactical surveillance troops of the Nigerian military have arrested a Boko Haram informant, Mahmoud Usman, popularly known as Bado, in Asokoro, one of the eyebrow areas in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The informant, according to the military high command, runs an errand for suspected high-profile Boko Haram terrorist commander in Kaduna, who is on the tracking list of security agencies. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Musa Madami, who disclosed this to journalists at a press briefing, also said the military would not relent in rooting out all collaborators of terrorists across the nooks and crannies of the country. The disclosure is coming less than 48 hours. The Department of State Service arrested a Kaduna-based Desert Herald publisher, Tukur Mamu, over alleged 2 billion naira ransom racketeering. Operatives of the Department of State Services conducted search in the Kaduna residence of arrested terrorist negotiator Tukur Mamu in the early hours of Thursday. The operatives came in about 20 vehicles in what a witness described as a commando-style operation. DSS say it has recovered some incriminating materials, including military uniforms and different currencies in his house. DSS spokesman Peter Afunaya told Daily Trust that many other incriminating things were also recovered. The Nigeria police have paraded 20 suspected criminals in Gombe State over alleged involvement in various offences. Parading the suspects, Police Public Relations Officer in the state, ASP Mahid Muazu, said the suspects are being accused of kidnapping, rape, criminal conspiracy and possession of counterfeit dollar notes, as well as criminal conspiracy and culpable homicide. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
These are the suspects allegedly involved in various crimes in Gombe State. Among them is a 55-year-old suspect alleged to have raped a 6-year-old girl in Gombe Metropolis. In the same vein, a young man in his 20s is also suspected of raping a 16-year-old girl.
Gaskiya ga yanda ta fito aka ce na fiyaɗin to gaskiya abin da zan faɗa shine yanda ake zargiya da shi.
It is true, I confessed to the crime. I raped the girl, but I am not happy. I am pleading for mercy. The command asked citizens in Gombe to strengthen ties with the police and share intelligence to rid the state of criminal activities.
At about 8:30 p.m., a formal complaint was received from Abigail Yunusa, M of Tarmana Ward, via Kaltungo local government, that on the same date at about 8 p.m., one Ruben Azaria, M of the same address, took her daughter, aged 16 years, of the same address and forcefully had carnal knowledge with her on top of a grave inside their compound at the above-mentioned address. On receipt of the complaint, police operatives from Kaltungo Division swung into action and arrested the said Ruben Azaria. Victim and suspects were taken to General Hospital Kaltungo for medical examination. Case under investigation, after which he will be brought to justice.
The police said all suspects will be charged to court as soon as investigations are concluded. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
The federal government says it has concluded the construction of 1,000 housing units as part of the federal government's resettlement efforts for millions of inhabitants displaced by the 13-year insurgency in Nigeria's northeast. The managing director, Northeast Development Commission, Mohammed Al-Kali, revealed this to State House correspondents at the 50th session of the State House briefing organized by the Presidential Communications Team at the Asokoro Villa, Abuja, on Thursday. According to him, the 1,000 houses were built in Guam, Borno, with plans to build 500 housing units in 5 other affected states, each costing 17.5 billion naira. The mass housing project includes 2-bedroom flats built in clusters. The housing units have been handed over to the Borno state government, who distributed it to various households. A 3-story building has collapsed in the Bodija area of Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. The National Emergency Management Agency confirmed that 5 persons were injured in the incident. NEMA also said no fatality was recorded at the collapse, but the wounded persons have been hospitalized. Last week, a 7-story building caved in, killing at least 5 persons, with fears that more bodies will be recovered from the site. Although the immediate cause of the collapse is still sketchy, emergency workers and security operatives have already moved to the site to rescue the trapped victims. Lagos and Oyo have experienced a series of building collapses despite efforts by the state government to curb the menace. A sickle cell activist, Hafiz Adeyemi, says the task of ending stigmatization of those living with sickle cell anemia has more to do with parents than other stakeholders. Hafiz made the call while addressing journalists on stigmatization faced by sickle cell patients at school, work, and the society in general. He stated that since the government alone cannot end the scourge, it was imperative for individuals to lead a change, especially from the home where parents hold sway.
I know I did have a lot of that when I was in primary school. I got stigmatized, I got bullied, I got insulted because as a sickle cell warrior, there's something we call jaundice, which is something that kind of shows the world that hey, this guy has a problem, or this person has a problem, which is whereby the eyes is a bit yellowish and everything. I don't know if it's something that has to do with the government. I think it has to do with individuality, the person. You know, you cannot tell, the government cannot tell people how to react. The parents have that responsibility of letting their kids know that you do not bully people, regardless of what they are going through, regardless of who they are, you know, regardless of what they look like. It starts with the parents, it starts from the house, it starts from home. Then we can now move on to the school, you know, by educating the students of what, okay, sickle cell is, why you shouldn't treat people with sickle cell or look at them in this light or in this manner or treat them like this, you know, and how it affects them psychologically or mentally or whatever. Then I think in the workplace as well, probably something, then in the school, same thing goes to the school and the workplace, whereby maybe there's some sort of a sanction.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up. How a young mother gave birth during storm. Details of this story and more after the break. Do stay.
Every patriotic Nigerian should hear this. Any politician who means well for the people will never allow themselves or their supporters to engage in any violent, destructive activities. No politician who truly wants to serve the people and develop the nation will encourage his followers to destroy properties or take human lives before, during, or after the elections. The Nigerian public must watch out for these traits and isolate any politician who encourages supporters to engage in violence. No genuine politician or patriot will cause trouble and seek to destroy the very society which they aspire to lead or develop. Politicians who have the good of the people at heart will not allow themselves or their followers to engage in violence, destruction of properties, and then taking of lives. Be vigilant. By their words you shall know them. Shun violence. Stay away from politicians who want you to do so. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Trust TV News Update, our top stories. PDP National Executive Committee passes vote of confidence in Iyorchia Ayu. Military arrest Boko Haram informant in Abuja. Moving on, United Nations Children Funds, UNICEF, has said there are now 18.5 million out-of-school children in Nigeria. According to UNICEF, the figure is much higher compared to the 2021 estimate put at 10.5 million. The National Commissioner for Nomadic Education, Professor Bashir Usman, disclosed this at an orientation workshop for staff on strengthening the capacity of members of school-based management committees and Mothers Association on combating out-of-school children in Northwest geopolitical zones in Nigeria held in Kaduna. According to him, UNICEF also stated that 60% of the out-of-school children are girls. Bashir said it was estimated that of the 18.5 million out-of-school children in the country, 3.5 million are from the nomadic background. Displaced residents of Karnaya village in Jigawa State are seeking help as a heavy non-stop downpour destroyed hundreds of houses. The flood, which is said to have submerged half of the village and destroyed farmlands is making life unbearable. Trust TV's Salim Umar Ibrahim reports on how a young mother gave birth under such terrible condition.
This is Rukaya Sani, a young mother who gave birth in a terrible condition during the flood. Sitting in a rickety section of an uncompleted building with no windows, she wondered where to go with her 2-year-old child and her newborn. She stayed aimlessly. Rukaya put to bed at midnight in an unforeseen circumstance that nearly saw the end of her life. She survived giving birth at a time when the only community primary healthcare facility at Karnaya village was submerged in water with no access to medical care. However, a local community birth attendant assisted the young mother who successfully put to bed. She described the experience as the most horrific she had seen in her life.
I am Zuwaira Adamu from Karnata village. I have never been devastated like this in my life before. A young pregnant lady delivered of her baby, but common razor was not available. You all witnessed this. The flood has taken our homes. We need urgent assistance.
Karnaya is a village just a couple of kilometers away from Dutse, Jigawa state capital. The rain, which started in the evening on Saturday, 27th August, kept the entire village awake up till Sunday evening, where the villagers were pushed out of their homes and seek refuge at the village school buildings and some uncomputed buildings by the roadside. Some of the victims share their experiences.
My name is Hawa Umar from Karnaya village. We are in this unpleasant situation because of flood. We need assistance as our valuables and other belongings have been destroyed by water.
While the displaced are helpless, they said they do not know how to begin rebuilding their lives and settlements. They, however, appreciated the effort of philanthropists, politicians, and the State Emergency Management Agency for their assistance and support.
We lack accommodation. We find families and in-laws squatting in classrooms. No accommodation, some scattered across the villages.
For this young mother and her 2 children who may not even know the situation they are in, rebuilding their lives may be difficult, but Rukaya said she will take each day as it comes. Salim Umar Ibrahim, Trust TV.
A very sad story there. Now, mourners around the world pay tribute to Queen Elizabeth II by laying flowers and leaving messages at embassies and cathedrals as world leaders continue to send their condolences. King Charles III, who became the new monarch immediately after his mother's death, will return to London, address the nation and meet British Prime Minister Liz Truss. London is preparing for the arrival of huge crowds to mourn the Queen. There will also be a service at St. Paul's Cathedral attended by Truss and senior ministers Bells will toll at the Westminster Abbey Street Paul's Cathedral and Windsor Castle, and gun salutes, 1 round for every year of the Queen's life, will be fired at Hyde Park. Back home, President Muhammadu Buhari says he has received with immense sadness news of the passing of Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom. In a statement late on Thursday evening, the president mourned the dead monarch and commiserated with the royal family. He also welcomed Your Majesty's ascension to the throne in line with tradition and prayed that King Charles III's reign will witness the continuing robust and sisterly relations between Nigeria and the United Kingdom. We now join Adeni Ajishafe for more in sports.
Stade Malien of Gabon has threatened to withdraw from this year's CAF Champions League due to paucity of funds. The champions of Gabon may not be able to honor their matches in the 2022-2023 CAF Champions League due to unavailability of funds required to finance their participation in the CAF Club Tournament. Stade Malien have not received the 80 million CFA prize money for winning the title from Gabon Football League organizers, as they only received trophy without the cash prize. Although the match against Plateau United comes up on 10th September 2022, the team has to move from Port Gentil to Franceville, considering the logistics involved in moving the team as well as bearing some cost of logistics for Plateau United. And in basketball, Nigerian national men's basketball team D Tigers have been handed a lifeline of playing at the 2024 Olympics scheduled for Paris, France. Though Nigeria is yet to qualify for FIBA World Cup in Japan, Indonesia and Philippines, an outing in Paris seems out of reach. Prior to the new FIBA rule, teams that qualify for the last 8 of the World Cup were guaranteed a place at the Olympics, while others will have to battle it out for a slot in another set of qualifiers. However, a statement from FIBA introduced a new Olympic qualifying tournament that says 7 teams that could not make it from the second round of the Africa qualifiers for the World Cup will be eligible, as well as the best-ranked team in the FIBA World Ranking that did not play in the second round. Winners of the Olympic qualifying tournament, OQTS, will join Olympic host France, along with other teams that clinched places in the Paris Games with their performances at the World Cup. That's Sports News. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
And that's it on News Update. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Zainab Bala. Thanks for your time and company.